Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
There are way more God lovers than Satan worshipers. Hey everybody, Joe Simons, like diamonds, back again, Salt Strong Unchurched. This is going to be a completely different one, but it has a powerful message. I just finished reading a book called The Bass Boss. I love reading books. I love reading books about historical people that have made big impacts. And The Bass Boss is really near and dear to my heart because it's a story of Ray Scott. If you don't know who Ray Scott is, he was the founder of Bass, like BASS, which means the Bassmaster Classic and the Bassmaster magazine, and literally everything that's happened in bass fishing goes back to him. I mean, Johnny Morris even said there would be no, he's quoted in the book as saying, there would be no Bass Pro Shops if it had not been for my good friend Ray Scott. Ray Scott literally created bass fishing as a thing. Prior to that, in the 50s and 60s, early 60s, he started it in the 60s. Prior to that, bass fishing was nothing. There was no sport behind it. They had little derbies that were, $2 to enter. And based on the book, it was just all about cheating and everything. And Ray Scott saw an opportunity. He's like, so many people in America love to go bass fishing, but there's not a place that they can go that's safe and friendly and God-fearing. And he did put Jesus Christ and God up at the front of the importance of bass fishing, and says, we want honest people. And the second you cheat, you're banned for life. We want good people who are doing good things. And before every single bass tournament, he would actually pray, not like pray internally to himself, but he would pray up on a loudspeaker. And there were some people back then who said, why are you doing that? Why are you sharing your beliefs? And he would quickly say, then get out of here and go watch some other bass tournament if that offends you somehow. But I thought it was so interesting and was also hopeful and inspirational reading this book about the guy who invented bass fishing. He just passed away here recently, sadly. But there was multiple chapters, especially towards the very end. They talked about what was really important to Ray and in his life after he sold the company and became older and had grandkids. And there was multiple chapters about church and the importance to church and the fact that he raised money, I mean, millions of dollars for some churches that he supported and really wanted that to be the main thing about communities. And he actually built a home right next to a church that he could walk to. And it was a really big part of his life. And I found it awesome that was highlighted so much in the book. And I've read other books about other big name people that we all know from Mr. Hilton. Take Paris Hilton out of this, right? She's quite removed from the founder of the Hilton hotel chains. But he was a devout Christian, went to church every single week, never would miss it. And did so much for churches and Christianity way back in the day. It's tough to know that now because now it's just a massive company, that's gotten away from its roots, if you will. But he did a lot for churches and Christianity, and a lot of people don't know that. Same with Sam Walton. Once again, Walmart's now painted as this big bad person, and it may or may not be. It's not for me to judge, but Sam Walton at the time, back when it was small, right? I mean, Sam Walton, who started Walmart, has been dead for many, many years. But I mean, he put God at the very top. I mean, it was one of the most important things. A company that is near and dear to everyone here in the South is Chick-fil-A. I read the book about Chick-fil-A, and doggone, I mean, talk about putting Christ first in your life. And here's where I'm going with all this. This is the good news: is we do have big leaders and big companies and well-known people who do put God first and are very public about it. But the sad part these days, if you watch the news or gosh, just go out in public and listen to how people talk and are interacting with each other, you might think that God is gone and that, it's gone out of our schools and it's gone out of our talk and no one goes to church anymore. And that it's just all a bunch of Satan worshipers. Well, that's not true. I mean, even all these books I've read about Christianity, the majority, vast majority of people are not going to church. However, the vast majority of people, I'm talking almost getting closer to 85, 90% do believe in a God and want to have a better relationship with them. They are just lost. That is part of the problem. And that's why we need more people like Ray Scott. It's a big reason I do this Unchurched, right? Every single person I can reach is I'm just giving hope to one more person. Says, well, gosh, man, if this guy Joe and this company Salt Strong can do it, then I can as well, and maybe just give them hope and some direction on where to go. Because unfortunately, we're all imperfect. There are churches who have hurt people. Sadly, there's people in churches, but that doesn't mean Jesus Christ hurt those people, right? When someone says, "Well, gosh, yeah, I've given up on God and Jesus," and you ask him why, and he's like, "Oh, well, this church, here's how they treated me." Like, it was a person. It wasn't a human being in the church. Did Jesus Christ hurt you? And no. Well, maybe we should give him a second chance. Maybe it means going to a different church. Maybe it means finding a new community. Maybe it means studying it on yourself and not just relying on a church that hurt you to literally make your entire impression about God. But I'm also here to tell you that there's really exciting news because so much good things are happening. There are so many amazing things that I read. I turn off the news and I try to go out there and find good things about people helping each other and serving and doing amazing things for God and Jesus. The sad part is it never makes it in the news because that doesn't sell the advertising. That's what news is all about. It's a business, right? They could care less if the message is positive or negative. All they want is something that's going to get clicks and get eyeballs, which helps them build their shareholders' net worth. That's what it comes down to. So I urge you all to do a couple of things. One, turn off the news. It's depressing, and it can lead you to start to believe and have a false pretense that there is just all Satan around us and there's nothing but evil. There's a lot of really amazing things happening. But number two is to be vocal about it. The sad truth is, we let the very, very, very small minority, and I don't have to even give you examples. You can already probably think of them in your head, where we've given the very small minority basically like a complete free platform to say whatever they want, and we can't even say anything against them because we might offend somebody. Oh, poo-poo. But yet we as Christians, right, if we want to go back to the roots of our country and talk about what got us here and why God and Jesus Christ is so important, all of a sudden we get knocked down and we're bashed, and all of a sudden we're silenced because we're bad people and we're trying to, it's crazy. But at some point, just like Ray Scott and just like these others who have gone before us, just like the Chick-fil-A's have had to stand their ground and say, guys, if you don't like it, go somewhere else, right? At some point, America has to do that. Guys, if you don't like this and if you don't like us putting God first, which has been in our country from day one, then go somewhere else. So I'm going to urge you, it's the same thing I'm doing here with this Unchurched, and it's going to continue to get bolder and bolder, and I'm going to continue to use this platform for God and to do amazing things and inspire people that we do not have to be silent as Christians. And the good news is we know that God wins. It's already written down in Scripture. We know what's going to happen. We know the end of this movie, right? But that doesn't mean there's not going to be a lot of drama in the meantime. That doesn't mean like in any movie that there's going to be some bad breaks and some bad things happen. But at some point, we are going to be forced to be loud, to be vocal, and to stand up for what is right. And there will be a war. I talked about this before. I mean, there's a moral war going on in our lives right now. And the sad part is everything that seems to get like magnified is all this bad stuff, because once again, it sells in the news and it gets people fired up. And it is Satan sitting there working and just stirring the pot, if you will, trying to invoke anger and hatred in people. He absolutely loves that. Satan loves that when people are disagreeing and fighting and hating on each other. But as Christians, we are told to love, right? And to, act like Jesus Christ did. He led with truth and grace, right? And yes, he would reprimand people. And yes, he would come back and get aggressive with people, but he never got in a fight. He never was sitting there punching people and ridiculing him. He came back at him with truth and grace. He knew he was right, and he knew the Father was backing him up. And in almost every single case, right, that he said something, the people were just, they didn't know what to say because he was right. And so at some point, we as Christians are going to have to do that ourselves to give hope to all of these people who are lost. The majority of our country right now is lost, right? They're not Satan worshipers, right? They're just absolutely lost, and they see these causes and these little microorganisms of, in my opinion, horrible ideas and causes and things that we're trying to lift up. And because, it's getting momentum, and we've given this small minority these big platforms to share what they believe may or may not be true. And they're like, well, hey, gosh, this isn't getting beaten down. I'm going to go join them. Whereas Christianity and things that are good, right, are getting beat down left and right. And it's mostly because we're letting it happen and we're not being brave and bold. So once again, I urge you to continue to be brave, to continue to be bold, and know that you are not alone. There are so many people just like you who truly do believe in God, do believe in Jesus Christ, and want to see a massive turnaround in this country, want to see us start embracing morals and embracing the right thing. And it's just going to take, it's going to take an army of people who are not afraid to speak up and are not afraid, to maybe have a couple stones thrown at them by some evil people, because yes, there are certainly a lot of evil people out there, but the vast majority of people are good. We're good-hearted, and we're searching for answers. We're searching for truth, and we're searching for love out there. And so many people right now are lonely and absolutely just confused because they don't have father figures or mother figures in their life. They don't have any figures in their life except for what they see on TV or the gangs they're in, or some of just the horrible things that they've been fed throughout the years. So continue to pray over those people and to pray over our country and to pray over Salt Strong in this message and other people like Ray Scott. And I hope at some point that I'm in a written in a book like that of the impact that we made just by inspiring people and giving hope. And that book to me gave me so much hope, because there are days I get some hateful emails, as you can probably imagine, from Unchurched and being brave and bold and what I believe. And there are days where it can get to you. And there are days like, oh man, maybe I should just leave this out and just focus on the fishing. But reading things like that about Ray Scott and others, and the Chick-fil-A story, super, super inspiring. And if anything, it just gets me more pumped up than ever before to not just keep doing these Unchurched, but to make it even bigger and bolder and to magnify this for the glory of God. So hope this was helpful. If you have any thoughts or questions, love to hear from you. Obviously, you can post in the comments. I know a lot of you love emailing me, and I thoroughly enjoy getting those emails. It's Joe, Joe, @saltstrong.com. Otherwise, I will talk to you on the next episode.
'Cause fishing, it's in